Good afternoon, English-speaking people. Today is Saturday. We're reading the chapter 13, episode 5 of the saga of the Incas. We're almost coming to the end. And it's important that in this chapter, or in the previous episodes, we were talking about how to regain our dignity. Maybe how to get reparations from the world. Each Inca is given a proposition or a petition of what it should be returned to us. We ask that they should erase the word Indian. They should return our lands. Our lands are there in the jungles. We are not asking to return the whole thing, but just the virgin nature. We're asking those things. We're also asking some recognition for the potato, which was our original tubercle. But we don't get any recognition for that. Only Finland is the only one who calls the papa Peruna, which means where it comes from Peru. And today we're going to be discussing another product that Peru actually produced. That was the coca leaf. And that was around 1840s or so that they realized that the erythroxylone, which was the chemical compound of the coca, had this anesthetic effect on the human tissue. And that way, it kind of got no pain. We were able to avoid the pain. And all that was done by the Indians. They knew that. They knew that for this Dr. Nuland, who's talking about this as we read it, about how the Indians knew the properties of the leaf of the coca, which basically anesthetized the mucosa of the mouth. So we could say that we were the initiators of the anesthesia. Let's call it local anesthesia. Then obviously with the advances of chemistry and so now that we have different anesthetics. But the original idea came from the leaf of coca. So I hope you enjoy or think about this episode. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Man of the future, we should all be heard even if our demands are not worth hearing by the International Court. Incas. The world of ours is not all about demanding, it is more about taking care of our own problems. For no one is going to act on them, unless we make an effort to solve them ourselves. If we could do that, we would have accomplished more than we have ever dreamed. Nevertheless, speak your minds before Pachacutic's turn. By the way, where is he? He is not attending our council meetings, because he says that we are just talking and not taking action. We can't even think of any proposals, fearing that we may be ridiculed by him and the people of your days. Meta Capac, none of our demands are to be scoffed at. For they are long overdue. Democracy is expressing one's thoughts, as long as it is uttered without maliciousness. Freedom is one's personal exaltation that should always fall on the perimeter of our 2 feet. We seem to be prone to forget the rights of others and ourselves. Remember that we are seen as the last of the people who are trying to regain their dignity. The men of justice are going to find reasons why we should not be heard, in spite of the fact that the World Court supposedly advocates for the human rights of those who cannot defend themselves. Are you implying that we never cared for the rights of our own people? The Incas lost their decor for not respecting their subjects. However, that happened when you were isolated from the democratic advances of other civilizations. What is our excuse now that we are in touch with the rest of the civilized world? Kuntersoul, are you as pure-minded as you portray yourself to be? As a human being, you must have faults. Otherwise, we will think that you are as dead as we are, for being alive is to be imperfect. I am not faultless, and why I am here to find out the reason for my imperfections. Let us listen to your demands. You said that we have contributed to the old world with our staples and medicines. Does that mean that we also gave them our sacred coca, perhaps the curse of all addictions? Meta capac, the first two we did but not the last. Vice is not given, but is acquired by those who feel that the pain in their souls is too much to bear it alone. Don't make yourselves culprits for the ills of humanity. We gave them the knowledge of some of the effects of the coca. The scientists extracted the essence of its curative properties for the benefit of mankind. Counter soul, we used the coca leaves to work without feeling hunger and to withstand the thin air of the high Cordilleras. You also knew that the bolus of coca caused your mouth to become numb. This property made the doctors in the old world be aware of the possibility of ridding our body of pain. Unlike you, who used it to ease your physical needs, dorming your minds. However, someone had to be the first to try. The Incas did, and we are due some acknowledgement. With that preamble, and with the permission of Dr. Sherwin B. Nuland, I will recount the good and bad of our coca, which gets to the core of your question: do I have any faults? Yes, and so do great men, who when fallen rise above their afflictions to become the best they can be. I refer to Dr. William Halsted, the father of surgery in the country where I studied medicine, who became addicted to cocaine. But he was able to overcome his addiction with the help of his colleagues. That is to be expected from his compatriots. Yes, but help to our own people is something that we still have to master. What do you mean by that? That we are the most unforgiving people among ourselves. So much so that when we see our Indian brothers go under, we pound their souls to the pulp of their spirits from which they cannot rise again, and why discrimination among us is so inexplicable. Then, we must try to do away with this defect among us. Nevertheless, we should get some restitution for the coca leaf that benefited mankind. Inca, compensation for that plant is going to be difficult to obtain, because cocaine is the scourge of the world. However, I want to connect Dr. Halsted to our past and get some recognition in the field of medicine. Yeah. I am also interested in this healer who, like our sorcerers, used the coca to alleviate our tired bodies and despondent souls. Not necessarily in that context, and as Dr. Nuland writes, perhaps nothing in medicine is so well remembered as the use of general and local anesthesia. One created through chemistry, ether, which was introduced by William Morton in 1846. The second took place in Vienna in 1884 at the Ophthalmologic Society, where an article of the medical student Karl Kohler stated that the surface of the eye could be anesthetized by the application of a few drops of the alkaloid extracted from the coca leaf, erythroxylon. Nuland goes on to say that, of course, the Peruvian Indians knew of its properties centuries before us. That is all the credit we received, and in parentheses, Meta Capac. At least he mentioned us. Halsted understood the implications of this drug in the field of painless surgery. Unaware of its addictive properties, he and his students began experimenting by snorting or infiltrating cocaine in their own bodies. What is the difference? We also tried on ourselves. Inca, like in any other trade, there is always the good and the bad in any profession, and medicine is no different. He and some of his pupils became addicted. However, Halsted overcame his addiction, although not completely, becoming a great surgeon and an inspiration to countless medical men who followed the essence of the man whose virtues lay on the toils of his work and not on the failures of his life. His name will endure as an example of our indomitable courage to overcome our vicissitudes. Then he became a great healer on account of our coca? No. He understood that deep in him there was a man who could rise from the ashes, like a phoenix, to become a better doctor. So, let people be recognized for the little good they have done, and not for the weakness that is in all of us. For the world is full of virtuous people, who do more evil with their virtueness than with the goodness of their hearts.